Welcome back to the wonderful world of Name Coyote. Today we'll be continuing the challenge run that I started 2 weeks back. By the way, though, this is part 3 of the No Damaging Moves run, so make sure you go watch the first 2 parts before we begin. With that out of the way, though, let's get started. Again. Before we get into Spike Mouth, we need to defeat Marnie again. Marnie leads with a sucker punch, pretty much dooming her Liepard as I go for Curse and then switch out to put in Stealth Rocks. Next, she sends in Scrafty and Napper outspeeds and goes for Curse, but survives on 1 HP. I didn't know you could survive 2 curses, but it doesn't matter because we go down because Scrafty is not as dumb as Liepard. Then she sends out Toxicroak and it goes down to a curse for Motsand, but not before he gets off a Swagger on us. And of course, the time Swagger is used against us, it works, so Motsand goes down to a bite. Doesn't matter though, because it Toxic later and we win the fight. With Marnie beat, Piers swears he'll redeem the family, so let's see if he does. He doesn't, by the way. Anyway, Motsand hits a curse, but goes down. Then I have Vile drop Stealth Rocks just as Scrafty goes down. Malamar takes down Vile, but Brentilda hits a Toxic, and we survive off Moonlights until Malamar goes down. And turns out Obstruct is one of those useless moves. Looks like Piers is throwing the fight with how stupid he's playing. Once again, Moonlight keeps us alive until Scum Tank comes out. Obviously, we can't Toxic it, so I send Napper out to get the curse, and we win. Piers' whole no Gigantamax thing really got him good here. But I mean, with an introduction this embarrassing, he's gotta suck. There's literally no sound, by the way. This is it. Next, let's go on to Raihan, and here's the team in case you forgot. To be completely honest, I think he's an absolute pushover with the amount of people complaining about him because of his double battle. His first gym trainer, on the other hand, took out 3 of my Pokemon. Maybe I shouldn't be too confident. Anyway, I start with Brentilda and Conga, and with Brentilda missing her first Toxic, we're already at a disadvantage. We manage to land the next 2, but Conga goes down to a few unlucky critical hits. I take the opportunity, however, to get a Stealth Rock off on Vile, and even though Moonlight is worse than Sandstorm, it's the best stall we've got without Conga. Flygon and Vile both go down, but the next turn I immediately get a Toxic on Sandaconda. I send out Motsand to start using Minimize so we can sustain a hit from Max Duraludon. Eventually, Gigalith goes down, and despite our Minimizes, Motsand gets nailed by a Max Rock Ball. So I'm forced to use possibly the most clutch play in Pokemon history and use Sleep Powder on Duraludon, giving Napper just enough time to get a curse in and take the rest of Raihan's team down. When I went for that Sleep Powder, I thought there was no chance it was gonna work, but hey, it did. By the way, this was only my second attempt at Raihan. Not to brag or anything, but I bet you couldn't have done it on your second attempt. Skipping that pathetic excuse for a final route, we get into Winden and I immediately load the team up on vitamins, making sure I patch all their weaknesses and put them straight for their role in a battle. And let's not waste any time getting to the Champion Cup. Marnie's up first, and I guess Liepard never learns. This time she goes for Torment because I would use Curse twice in a row. Once I get my singular curse off, I switch to Conga, who waits until Liepard permanently goes down. Then for Scrafty, I use Motsand's last curse and switch out to Vile, who gets in Stealth Rocks through Confusion. Then Scrafty scares Vile, so I faint him. Then for Toxicroak, I switch to Chuffy and Will-O-Wisp while we get poisoned off a Toxic. Chuffy goes down and I get sick of waiting out the burn, so I have Vile Roar, and turns out we get another broken ability showcase. Hunger Switch isn't as broken as the others I've stopped to talk about, but looks like it changes on the first turn out before Morpeko attacks. I roar again, and out comes Grimmsnarl, who G-maxes and takes Conga and Vile both down. I send out Brentilda for the Toxic, but Fairy Mist protects it from being poisoned, so I have to survive with Trax and Moonlights until it goes away, finally getting in the Toxic. Somehow Brentilda manages to survive and take down Grimmsnarl, and Napper comes out and gets a curse on Toxicroak so that it goes down before taking us out. But even though Napper is crazy fast, Morpeko outspeeds and takes us down before we can curse it. Luckily, Brentilda's still healthy enough to come in for one last Toxic, just barely winning us the fight, and forcing Marnie to become a gym leader. Now it's time for the last battle against Hop, and oh boy was I excited to permanently crush him. Napper puts a curse on Dubwool, but goes down to his Zen Headbutt. Then I have Brentilda Toxic as Snorlax, and Vile comes in to set up Stealth Rocks, but Hop cheats and uses a full restore, healing off our Toxic. By the way, I get in 6 sand attacks, and Snorlax is still hitting Hammer Arms. I switch Brentilda back in, and he hits another Hammer Arm, but we Toxic and send in Vile, who takes one last Hammer Arm before Snorlax goes down. Then Corvisquire ruins Vile, so I have Motsand return the favor with a curse. Goes for Scary Face, so we're fine to switch out to Conga, who never dies, so on to Pincurchin. I get a Toxic in, but even though Pincurchin absolutely sucks, Hop loves his super effective hits and finishes us with a Poison Jab. Brentilda comes all the way through the run, only to go down to none other than Hop's Pincurchin, of all things. Pincurchin then goes for his own curse 3 times in a row, but he's not Ghost type, so it's pointless and he goes down. Last is Cinderace, and I G-Max Chuffy because he's at full health and use Max Guard until both of our G-Maxes are out. Then I purposefully feint Chuffy and switch to Conga. I've got a strategy here, and I'm betting everything on Cinderace going for Pyro Ball while I switch into Motsand with Flash Fire, then having Quick Claw activate and getting a curse in before he can take us down. So I switch to Motsand, and he does in fact go for Pyro Ball. But when I go for Curse, we don't get Quick Claw, and he goes for Bounce, making us miss. I think it's all over, but we survive the bounce on 4 HP and get our curse in. All I can say is those vitamins really came through for us there. After that, all that's left is to send out Conga and crush Hop's dream once and for all. Man, this game is unnecessarily harsh to Hop. But he quickly gets over his defeat in a matter of seconds when we discover Rose has been helping Bede with his criminal activities. So we have to get up to Rose Tower and rescue Leon. It's not like he's the champion or anything. Oh yeah, and by the way, Steel types are torture because we can't use Toxic. So this whole thing took me about 3 hours to get to Oleana, who starts by outspeeding Motsand and landing a Hex for big damage as I go for Minimize. Luckily, we have the Quick Claw, and I get a curse in for the next turn. Then out come Vile and Chuffy for Stealth Rocks, and a stall until Frostlass goes down. Next is Milotic, who sets up an Aqua Ring, but Aqua Ring sucks, and she goes down to Toxic. I fight Salazzle for a little while with sand attacks and such, so I can switch to Napper, but I decide that it's safer to just have Napper out before she comes in, so I roar it out. And would you look at that, it's a big pile of trash, just like my strategy here. I really can't explain what happens, all I know is that Chuffy takes all 3 G-Max moves and goes down, but then I, for some reason, use my own G-Max, waste a Max Guard as it goes for Toxic Spikes, then send Napper out to get outsped and die, going for Curse. Yeah, that sounds about right. Then it's time for Tisserina. Serena? I don't know what that says. I get in a Toxic, but Vile goes down, and Brentilda gets poisoned by Toxic Spikes. Salazzle is last, and we can only stall it out until it dies. I came so close to losing all of my PP there, you would not believe. Except you're going to have to believe it, because my capture card storage flipping got full, so I've got no footage of it. I'm very sorry. Anyway, we rescue Leon, but Rose has already helped Bede escape prison, and we've got to put him back in. Napper goes down with a curse on Mawile, then Chuffy gets a burn and Stealth Rocks in before Gardevoir comes out. She keeps going for Wish, which makes it annoying, but eventually Curse takes her down. Then Motsand narrowly survives a Psycho Cut from Rapidash and gets a final curse in, leaving Rapidash to go down. His Max Hatterene finishes off Chuffy, and Brentilda barely gets a Toxic in because of how slow Hatterene is, but then gets one-shot by a Max Flare. Bede's kill streak doesn't matter though because Conga. And Bede gets a free ride back behind bars. Now we can get on with the semifinals. First is Nessa, and Goliathpod hits Brentilda with a first impression, but we still get a Toxic and heal up with Moonlight. Now Vile's out and we set up Stealth Rocks, but a Swords Dance Liquidation makes short work of us. Toxic gets them down to emergency exit range, so Pelipper comes out, and he's obsessed with his Tailwind and won't let it die, but he forgets that he's cursed, and he lets himself die, after Nessa wastes her full restore on him, of course. Seeking avoids a Toxic, but just goes for Aqua Ring, so we get a Toxic in next turn as he hits us with a powerful Mega Horn. Seeking goes down and Goliathpod's back out, but it punches Conga, so it's no longer back out. Then Barraskewda outspeeds and takes Brentilda down with an Ice Fang, and a critical Drill Run takes Motsand down after a curse. Last is Dreadnought, but what can I say? Napper curses and we win the fight. Now it's time to fight Alistair. Brentilda starts with a Toxic, and after a few turns, Alistair uses his full restore, but I predict didn't use Toxic the same turn. After that, Dust Noir is doomed. I bring out Napper to put a curse on Chandelure, and we go down to a Shadow Ball. Then I have Chuffy set up Stealth Rocks, and even though he goes down, Chandelure joins him. For both Cursula and Poltegeist, I have a Toxic, and they can't help themselves, so Gengar's last. And what's this? A G-Max Showdown? No, I just spam Max Guard until Conga goes down. I take the opportunity to send Motsand in, activate the Quick Claw, and hit a curse, winning us the fight. Last up is Raihan, and we get so incredibly close on attempt 1, but we bring Duraludon to a sliver, and he takes us down. With an almost win under our belt, though, I've got a strategy for the second try, and it doesn't involve Torkoal using Lava Plume or burning us, thank you. Technically the third time now, and I start with a curse from Napper while Torkoal wastes a turn going for Yawn. I switch out to Chuffy, who sets up Stealth Rocks, but goes down to a sun-boosted Solar Beam. Once Torkoal goes down, Napper takes Goodra down with his last curse, and Turtonator gets Toxic'd and wastes turns setting Shell Traps and going for Sunny Day. Then Flygon goes down to a Toxic, and last out is Duraludon, who takes Brentilda down with 2 Max Rock Balls. I send out Motsand, and a Max Depletion doesn't kill us, so we get a curse in. And hey, somehow Vile survived until the end, and actually clutched out the win here. Thanks, Vile. Now it's time to face Leon, but what's this on the screen? Is it possibly the black void of skipping cutscenes? No, what actually happened was Rose telling me and Hop to steal some ancient relics for him. I go meet him at Hammerlock Stadium to give them to him, but he forgets we're working together and forces me to battle. Escavalier's out first, and Napper goes for an immediate curse, then gets finished by a critical Iron Head. Escavalier goes down though, and I have Chuffy burn for Rawthorn while Rose starts building up curses. He winds up going down, and I know Kling Klang is crazy fast, so I have Brentilda put it to sleep. Then switch out to Motsand for a curse. I switch back out to Brentilda, but he finishes her with a Gear Grind. Once he goes down, Chuffy goes for another burn on Berserker, and slowly he goes too. Last is Caparasha, but he's extremely slow, so I used Motsand's last curse, and even though he takes the rest of the team down, you can't kill Conga, so we win the fight. I tried that fight 5 or 6 times before I got this run. See, this is what makes Pokemon fun. Add more of this challenge stuff, Game Freak. Anyway, turns out Leon sucks at catching Pokemon, so we've got to fight Eternatus now. And all looks bad, but suddenly some rocks decide to turn into legendary dogs and come kill it for us. Then I show Leon up by catching G-Max Eternatus in a Pokeball. Take that, Leon. Clearly I'm the better trainer, but now it's time for the champion fight, and Leon says a few strong words for a kid's game before we start. Yeah, we lose pretty badly, like 10 or 20 times. I literally just train on Leon until I get about 10 levels higher than I was at the beginning of the fight, and I was extremely frustrated. So I decided to make a few edits to the team. By edits, I mean switching Vile for Eternatus, who can learn Toxic. Sorry, Vile, I know you've been with us for the entire run, but you're just kind of not very good. Surprised I'm just realizing this now. Anyway, now the team's significantly higher leveled, and I've got a meticulously planned strategy here. One that starts with Aegislash using King's Shield, which allows us to get free curse in. Then if I switch back and forth between Conga and Napper, Aegislash can't hit us because of his AI telling him to hit the super effective moves, Sacred Sword and Shadow Ball, on Conga and Napper, respectively. We even use up Leon's full restore with this admittedly cheesy technique. Alright, but after Aegislash goes down, we've got a real fight. Haxorus starts with Outrage and hurts Brentilda badly, but she gets a Toxic in anyway. I switch to Chuffy, who takes 2 more Outrages and sets up Stealth Rocks, but then we get lucky and the confusion from Outrage stops Haxorus from attacking and we get a Tract in. Then we get even more lucky and confusion hits him for the second time, taking him down. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Napper learned Destiny Bond at level 54, so Rhyperior just completely kills himself here. I think it's funny because Napper has almost always taken herself down, and now it's like a bit of poetic justice, whatever that means. Anyway, Rhyperior goes down to his own Stone Edge, and I send Eternatus out on Dragapult, but we get outsped and fully paralyzed with a Dragon Breath when I try to Toxic, forcing us to rest the next turn. I had this strategy so well thought out that when we got paralyzed, I thought for sure we were done for. But we actually managed to PP stall him in every way possible, using almost all of Konga's own PP until he takes himself down with a struggle. By the way, on the last turn Dragapult was out, I got Brentilda in to get a free Moonlight. This was actually very important because a knockoff from Rillaboom would have easily killed us if not for it. But we don't go down and I hit a Toxic, taking Rillaboom down. Now the moment we've all been waiting for is G-Max Charizard. I send Motsand out and a Max Airstream takes us to 24 HP, but we survive, hit a curse, and take ourselves down. But it's not over yet, because Chuffy gets finished off by a Max Rock Ball, and Conga goes down to a Max Airstream. Charizard's just at a sliver now and takes Eternatus down, but faints to his own Sandstorm. And there you have it, Pokemon Shield beat without using a single damaging move. Number 1, I guess the team is only as strong as its weakest link. As soon as I switched Vile out, we won. First try. Number 2, anyone else notice that 4 out of the 6 of Leon's Pokemon took themselves down? Haxorus in Confusion, Rhyperior activating Destiny Bond, Dragapult from Struggles, Recoil, and Charizard to Sandstorm. Can't imagine how triggered Leon got after that loss. But that's that, we are now the champion. And quick before you go, I want to give you a hint to the next challenge. I catch a Galarian Stunfisk and a Lapras, stick them in the daycare together, and receive a very special egg. I put it in home with the rest of the team and reset the game. I'm currently working on the next challenge, so see if you can guess what it is in the comments. One last chance to guess the naming scheme before I put it in the comments too. But even more quickly before you go, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. It took a ton of time to make, and I'm really glad you sat through it all. Part 1 of this challenge has 100 views now, and I think that we can get it even higher. So please post my channel on all the random group chats you have with your friends, and share it with all of your distant relatives, because it is super easy to do and it helps out so much in comparison. But that's all for now, so once again, I thank you all very much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one.